IVM.
Right. Hello. Welcome to Football Total. We are recording this right after the England versus Germany game in which Gareth Southgate proved his all-time
Yo,
great managerial credentials. Yash, what's up?
it's coming home, man. It's coming
Yeah.
home.
Oh God, this is 2018 all over again. They had that song. And if you guys are wondering where is Tanuj Baru, he is depressed supposedly on France losing yesterday. And I don't know what's his status after the England victory. So he said he may join in, but we don't know. All right, let's start, Yash. Let's
Yeah,
actually start with the game we just saw. England
absolutely.
versus Germany. Why are Germans so bad?
I mean, you can use all the talking points like they're a team in transition. They don't have the superstars. They drew against Hungary, so England were a much tougher opposition for them, and things like that. But I think it's just uh, England did better than them in the second, not even the second half, in the last 20 minutes. That's about it.
No, even in the first half, England actually were doing only like first 5 minutes. I think Germany played well. It
Right.
was it was just so evident on how bad the Germans are. Ah, here you go. Tanuj Baru is also joining us. All right. So it was just so bad on like what was is Jack Grealish the only guy who can win the Euros for England now?
No. So they have more players. It's just our manager is choosing to keep them in the reserves till the last stages of the tournament. I think
And is that good management by Gareth Southgate?
probably unless he knows something that we don't, then it's quite baffling the selections he makes. But I mean, they worked out well today.
All right. At this point, let us welcome our dear friend Tanuj Baru. Tanuj, what's up?
ए मैं
Why is your video switched off?
क्योंकि अभी मैं किसी को मुंह दिखाने के लायक नहीं बचा
Oh
Wait.
no!
We're talking about England game. We've not yet reached France. So
ओके
all right. So Harry Kane had two shots in the first
Uh-huh.
half. Harry Maguire had two open headers in the first half. But all of that just didn't mean anything because they were all waiting for Jack Grealish to replace Saka. Is Jack Grealish going to replace Saka for Arsenal as well?
see well the amount of time that Saka got on the ball in the first half, he was seeming like the most effective player. He was making quite a few good runs and everything, but at the end of the day, Grealish is a different league as compared to Saka. He has the experience also. So yeah, I think we can come to a swap deal with City. Maybe you know they'll have some forward options on Grealish which we can buy off.
Oh, dude. So Yash,
Yeah.
how long is this celebration going to go? Like, how many years do we have to listen to
No,
that?
clearly, I mean, they won 5-1 against Germany 20 years ago, so 20 more years of this.
Of this,
Unless they win the damn thing, and they'll face a pretty difficult team in the finals. So you never know.
do you think they're going to win this thing?
Oh, I mean, now I've started to believe.
What? No way.
No, wait, I mean, they're in a pretty good position. I know that Denmark are a pretty tough team, and young Kasper Schmeichel would want to be a Euro winner just like his father. I mean, he's already won the Premier League like his father when it was extremely unlikely. But I think England will definitely reach the final. This is written in the stars. I
Baru,
think.
what's with people just like overlooking Sweden or Ukraine in quarterfinal? Everyone's already talking about England versus Denmark. Like, so they're assuming Denmark is going to beat what, Czech Republic, and then they're
Hey, I don't think people know that Ukraine is still there because Russia like crashed out a few weeks.
oh, that way. All right. Okay, but today was like we've seen one game and it was all right. It was. I mean, I want to speak so bad about Germany. It's just that it's probably Thomas Muller's last game. Yash, he's
Yeah.
done. He's done with his German career, which was
And he
scoring one
missed an
goal in the
absolute
Euros.
sitter to celebrate it. I mean, poor guy.
Yeah, is he going to come out with an apology message for sorry for missing an open goal? I Timo Werner did. I think it's time to announce my retirement. Is he going to say something like that?
No. I guess not. I think he's gonna just crack a silly joke.
Oh, like Stoke.
Yeah.
You remember that? He's not Lewandowski, he's Lewandowski. All right. So now let us talk about the amazing day of football which we had yesterday. And let's start talking backwards. France, my dear friend Tanuj, was like losing the game. They played very bad. Somehow they're 3-1 up with like amazing Benzema goals and Paul Pogba's like worldly goal. And then
Mhm.
what happened? Why? Why? How did the
Why
group
happened?
crumble?
Why happened?
Yes, why? What was that?
Uh, it was evidently, they just weren't serious enough. They'd already assumed that they'd won. The sheer fact that Pogba managed to, fit in three different dance routines in the 1 30-second goal celebration just shows how, the state of mind they were in. They assumed that they'd already gone through. And Switzerland, under the able captaincy of man of the match, Granit Xhaka, holder of the keys, uh, responsible son of the family. Under his able leadership, they showed that
He's
they
the king
were
of the West.
king, king of the Northwest and whatever else is left. But yeah, that is where they lost the match, I think.
Yeah. If there has to be one reel or one match, Yash, where you have to show a video, like if an agent has to take his player's video of one match and say, Ki sir, ye dekho, he's worth 70 million. Like for Shaka, it was yesterday's match against France. He was so good.
Yeah, but it was one of those, man. I mean, like, I concur with Baru that I don't think France was taking it that seriously. I mean, come on, the manager started that Langley, who's obviously terrible in the air, and that was, I mean, such an obvious tactic to use to score that first goal. No?
I know, but look, they were leading 3-1, right? And did you, I think even you saw that stat on Twitter, right? The
Yeah.
probability of both the teams coming back from 3-1 deficit
Mm-hmm.
is like 0.5%. So
Yeah,
it
but
was almost
see,
a done deal.
possibly. But if you play this game again like 10 times, I think France would
Wow.
manage to win it each and every. So, I mean,
Yash
speaking
is so
about.
starved of good football. He wants this game to be played 10 times.
Oh, well.
Let's talk about Mbappe. First of all, he missed a penalty, which is fine. But what's with the new trend of players coming on Twitter and apologizing? Like, what is the need to apologize? Okay, you missed a penalty. Who are they apologizing to? The fans.
See, Twitter is not the new trend, man. TV has become the old trend. All these TV interviews and everything are all passe now. So he's just doing the thing that's in vogue. I mean, he's reaching out to the fans directly without any censorship or any broadcasting. I think that's just the way it is right now.
Baru, you think in 2 years' time you'll start sending me invites to clubhouse room of players apologizing?
Yes, that's
He's
how
like,
it
अबे सुन छेत्री sorry बोलने वाला है.
is.
Yeah, but Mbappe had a horrible Euro. Yes, is this the beginning of the downfall of the? Like he was the first CFL of like Monaco
That's
or
true.
whatever.
No, but now possibly it'll maybe this is his only way of exiting PSG, right? Because nobody will be able to afford his transfer fee if he actually succeeds all the time. And I think he wants out of the French league.
Oh yeah, especially like I mean, isn't he? He and Neymar are the only two world-class stars left in the French league, right?
Yeah,
So it's
unless
going to be quite a
PSG buys
crisis for them, especially with the whole TV deal going south.
There were three superstars in the French league. Memphis has gone to Barcelona, so now they're left with two superstars.
Wow.
And let's talk about the game before that. The Spanish one, Alvaro Morata scores such a good goal. Should Timo Werner learn from Morata? Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, that was such a wonderful finish. I mean, it seemed like another game where Morata would flatter and deceive, but I mean that's proper striker play to take it down with his right and finish it with his left, and we could see it coming, right? I mean, that defender knew he was in trouble. He was backpedaling, and I was laughing, and I pretty much was sure that Morata is going to swing and miss, but I mean, it was a pleasant
Yeah. So
surprise.
what you could see coming was that there is going to be a great chance to score, and what you were also sure was that Morata was going to miss it.
Yeah. I mean, I was already looking for a Spanish left back to come and, try to give another assist or shot on goal.
Did you watch that game, Baru?
Yeah, it set me up nicely for the night. And I was the one, it was instant karma because I was laughing at those fans. I was like, you guys can't even win a game clean and whatever.
Oh.
But yeah, it didn't turn out too well for the non-underdogs, as we call them nowadays.
What?
It was amazing, And what was funny is that there were like 5 goals scored by Spain and they gave the man of the match to our great fraud.
Who?
Sergio Busquets.
Dude, no way.
Yeah.
So let me tell this to you, Yash.
Yeah.
Spain scoring 5 goals and all is okay, but you know who really makes the team tick?
Pedri.
Dude, he's got a own goal.
So he woke up Spain by doing that.
Sergio Busquets, why is he getting who? How is this man of the match decided? Is it like a fan vote?
I saw a post in which he was holding up the man of the match trophy and smiling, and the typical stuff. Oh, he's so underrated. He was the reason why Spain turned the tournament around and started playing well and all that crap.
Yes, and they were winning 3-1 and then it became 3-3 because of
Morata is scoring amazing goals. Sarabia is running all over the left side, but this guy.
But Sergio Busquets. Baru, you think it's now reached a stage where you just have to give that award to Busquets because the hype is so much you don't want to let anyone down?
Yeah, I think that should be a good way to go about it.
They should actually have a fan vote. Modi ji will come number 1 in that also.
Yeah.
All right. Before that, the day before yesterday, quickly, Portugal is out, guys. It is gone. Penaldo is done. Fernandes is gone. Over. So the group of death, yes, has been decimated. Everyone's dead.
Yeah. I'm sure people will be saying, Arey, no, they were all tired playing each other. They already had 2 difficult games. That's why they are out.
Do you actually make up this stuff and put it on or ask your friends to start sending such things so that it becomes like a trend?
Wow. What? You haven't heard of burner accounts?
Yeah, I know, but this is just crazy. And Netherlands gone. I think our dear friend Arush is a fan of Netherlands. He's quite cagey these days because he lives in France, supports France, but he loves Netherlands and Italy is his home country. But Baru, Frank de Boer has proven his managerial credentials yet again.
How come? Wait, I didn't catch that. I wasn't listening.
How come he's proven his managerial credentials by losing again?
Well, good for him, man. I mean, what can one say?
Now he's primed to take the next, you can't even say Crystal Palace job. He was kicked out of that also. Imagine how bad he is that Patrick Vieira is now being chosen as a Crystal Palace manager.
Oh, God. What CV did Vieira show? Or did he go the usual way where he asked George Weah to give him a reference or something?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. How did Patrick Vieira get the job? हमारे Super Frank को ही दे दो फिर. What? If you
but isn't Super Frank much better than this?
Vieira, right?
No, Super Frank is bigger than this job, right? I mean, after managing Chelsea and all.
So what is Abhi? He still has to manage something, no?
Yeah.
He thought Gareth may lose and then he'll become the England manager, but that ain't happening.
Dude, there were rumors that Celtic might take him, and that's one rivalry I want to see: Gerrard and Lampard leading the old firm.
Yes, that is a job he should take. Screw Crystal Palace. Acha, anyway, we should take a break right now, and after the break, let's talk about this amazing quarterfinal matches. Finally, guys, the Euro is alive after the pathetic 15 days we've seen. Stay tuned to Football Portal.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you are not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week. Thank you so much to Cred, Ciet, and Global Victoria. Without you guys, this thing would not be possible. So, on the note, Maruk Inayat gives us an overview of the potential Twitter ban in India. On This Round is on Me, Gauri Devi Dayal was joined by actor-producer Purna Jagannathan to talk about her career in Bollywood, Hollywood and theatre. She talks about the upcoming season of the show Never Have I Ever. On Cyrus Says, we had legendary musician Usha Uttup. She took us through her journey and shared her experiences as the unconventional musician. In the second installment of the Father's Day special on Akla Station Adulthood, Ayushi has a candid conversation with her father, Siddharth Amin. On the Global Victoria Tech Talks podcast, we showcase some compelling new tech stories coming out of Melbourne. Whether it's from the buzzing gaming industry or the robust edtech sector, Victoria is increasingly becoming a hub of emerging technology, and we talk to some thought leaders and industry legends about the same. Catch all the action from the World Test Championship on the Edges and Sledges podcast. For our Hindi listeners, we have Khel Niti, which goes live on YouTube every morning. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Welcome back to Football Twaddle, and here we go. We are yet to watch Sweden-Ukraine, but we'll just assume that Ukraine beat Sweden, and let's continue. So, Yash, let's start with Belgium versus Italy, the quarterfinal everyone's looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally quite disappointed that this game is happening so early. I mean, quarterfinal is not early. Let's say it's a midpoint, but they have been very good in the tournament. So, I mean, this is clearly the tie of the quarterfinals, and possibly the winner will come out of this one.
No, as in we discussed like 15 minutes ago, winner is going to be England.
Yeah, that's true.
You said possibly a finalist.
Possibly, no. So still have to appear to be unbiased and also.
Acha.
I mean, this is going to be interesting because Belgium has so much firepower, but they have been cagey. Like their win against Portugal was quite a cagey 1-0, and Italy, despite all the history since Mussolini, they are like the attacking team of the tournament. Like they've been playing good attacking football, so it's going to be one of those historic matches.
We saw the game Italy versus Austria as well. Italy were struggled to beat Austria. You think that is?
It's okay.
A lot of people were concentrating on Mancini and Vialli hugging each other and like, look how cute all of this is. But they seem to have forgotten that Italy actually took 120 minutes to win that game. Against Belgium, I don't think it'll be. They can't do that.
No, it won't be easy at all. But the thing about Italy is because they don't have superstars, they have players that they can bring on who will, who will be the fresh legs to change things around without dropping much quality. Belgium, on the other hand, is a superstar-based team. How well Kevin plays, how well Lukaku plays, etc. really decides how Belgium's fortune.
Yeah, it all depends on like KDB and Lukaku, and I think KDB was injured in the game.
Possibly, but it's okay. I think Mancini is a good enough manager to nullify them because I mean what I've been seeing in this tournament is because the international teams' defenses are not that well drilled. It's sort of easier to score, especially if the matchup isn't all that great. And here, I think Bonucci and Chiellini are pretty good defenders to match up to the attacking threats that Belgium have. So
all right, let's talk about Switzerland, Spain, Baru. Like Switzerland start overwhelming favorites. It's Busquets stands between them and the semi-final. You think that's an apt preview for the game?
Yeah, I think all Switzerland need to do is like go
around Busquets.
No, I meant they just need to go like 2 goals down or something.
Oh, that way. I thought you were giving the most generic Roy Keane type analysis. Show heart and run around Busquets.
Yeah, but looking at the way Granit Xhaka has revitalized this Swiss side, I think it's going to be quite the match, man. Especially with how boring Spain have become right now. Right now being 8 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean Spain was boring from 2008 till 2 matches ago, right? They scored 5 goals in the last 2 matches. You can't call them boring now, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I realized my folly. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Fine, I forgive you. And yes, Czech Republic versus Denmark. It seems like there are a lot of players who play in clubs from 7th to 20th in Premier League in this fixture. I don't know. I don't know actual stat on how many people play in the Premier League, but it gives me a feeling that there are a lot of people in this
Dude,
match who are playing in the
yeah,
Premier League.
but so the guy who scored an assist against the Netherlands is a guy named Holes. Does he play for any team?
Wait, let me check.
I mean, it was so amusing. For Frank de Boer to lose to a guy named Holes.
Thomas Holes. Let us Thomas Holes this guy. Thomas. There's a footballer called Thomas Hobbs. He plays for Slavia Prague.
Oh, okay. So I
He
think.
does. If your question is, does he play for West Ham? No, he doesn't.
No, but given his performance, I think he'll play for West Ham very soon.
Oh yeah. Don't they have some Suchek also?
Suchek and Bowen, no?
Dude, this seems like West Ham versus Leicester all of a sudden. Who's going to win this game?
I think Denmark have too much quality. I think they'll come.
What, dude? What do you mean? How can you dismiss Czech Republic so easily?
No, I'm
What
not
quality of
dismissing
Denmark
them,
have you
but-
seen?
No, but they were pretty good in their previous game, and they have players higher up in the table like Højbjerg and of course the spirit of Eriksen coming back to life is also taking them through, right?
Baru, do you have an update on the spirit of Ericsson? Where is it at this point?
No, it's just smiling down upon them.
He's smiling down. You know what's Thomas Hole's father's name? Edward Holes.
Very
All right.
British names, dude. It'll be very easy for him in London.
Oh yeah, talking
Oh
of
wait,
British
are you
names.
telling me that his initials are like E-hole?
Yeah, E-hole. Oh, talking about British names. Why does Spain have a goalkeeper called Simon Baru? ये कब हो गया?
This is after the last conquest. they got in a few English guys just to fit in or something.
Wow, dude. So the Spanish Armada sank, but they got some Simon back.
One Simon they got.
Oh, this is the Simon the Indian
Simon
sent
who
back.
we sent back, dude.
So, all right. And the last question in our preview is that give me reasons why England is going to lose against either Spain or Ukraine. Yes, you go first.
Oh God. So England are heavily reliant on Sterling and
Jack Grealish who sits on the bench.
and Sterling is that that annoying guy who shows up to play, who's terrible, but he'll stand near the goal and score. So which will be quite annoying for you, right? So he's that type of a guy. So I think if they learn to deal with him, they'll be fine, I guess. Because
That's it.
yeah. So yeah, I think they need to. It is going to be very irritating and deceptive because Sterling, makes those runs, loses the ball, runs down blind alleys, but eventually he finds himself in the good spot, like how Shaw found him today. So I think they'll have to be wary about that. Harry Kane scored today, but he's been terrible this tournament. And yeah, I don't think England have other weaknesses apart from this.
Apart from scoring goals.
Yeah. They haven't conceded. The defense is pretty sorted. And
Yeah, dude, that is so shocking. Are they the only team which haven't conceded a goal? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Since we also have Tanuj is also a marketing professional. From a PR standpoint, is it a good time for Sterling to buy a house, Baru?
Depends on which neighborhood.
Southall.
No, definitely not.
All right. Who has been your player of the tournament so far, guys?
Don't say Sergio Busquets.
No, I'm not. Let me assist Baru here and say it's a French player, according to Tanuj, who scored a worldly goal, the third goal for France. Now name him.
Paul Pogba.
Yes. Don't you think he's had a great tournament?
Yeah, I think he's been brilliant. And these are the glimpses that he shows when he plays for United too. I'm just not sure why. And I'm talking about glimpses of the dances, not his.
Yeah. What Pogba showed in these 3-4 games for France, he shows over a season in United. But man, when he is in form, he's such a good footballer. You think, Yash, football is just so easy for Pogba that he gets bored during the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen that over and over again in the Premier League, where, and we saw glimpses of that in the game as well. Maybe, I mean, I'm being a bit harsh, but both those goals, if he had been more proactive and stopped that move in the inception at the inception stage in the midfield, then probably they would have come through.
You know what was so funny in that game? Pogba shouted at Adrian Rabiot for a defensive mistake. I was like, what? What's going on? Acha,
Dude,
who
but
is.
did you hear about the entire family feud that happened in the stands?
No.
Apparently, the families of Rabiot and Mbappe, they had a fight with each other कि तेरी गलती है and तेरी गलती है. तू अपने बेटे को थोड़ा कुछ समझा, उसके दिमाग में कुछ ऐसा सीधा कर उसको. I so these are the reports that have come out now with Veronique, or however you pronounce her name, Rabiot. She was the one who was leading the charge against all of these other French families.
Damn.
Okay, now that you said it, let me Google Veronica Rabiot. First of all, there is a Veronica Rabiot. No, Veronique.
Veronique.
French pronunciation.
France star families allegedly clash. Is this what you read?
Wow.
Talk about our friend, like so into the game that he reads Daily Mail gossip on French stars.
Damn.
Wait, what do you read?
Son. Oi, here's the thing. Adrian Rabiot's mom told Kylian Mbappe's parents to make him less arrogant before slating Paul Pogba to his family for losing the ball in Switzerland's eco. Guys, I think we found a racist. Oh, dude, this is so cool. I hope like they fire Benzema for 6 years even for this. Yes, who has been your player of the tournament so far?
Oh, just for kicks, I'd say Leonardo Spinazzola.
So, do you follow AS Roma's Twitter handle?
Sporadically.
You should see the thing they put on Spinazzola on like the tick mark the reason why you can't appreciate Spinazzola. So they had like, oh, he was so good in the game. I mean, his defending sucks.
Yeah,
But
he's not a defender. He's practically like a wing back who you have to, let him play three at the back. Just let Spinazzola do your thing because frankly, Italy don't have. They don't have what we do.
it's going to be so much fun for Spinazzola with his new manager.
Oh God! I hope Juventus or someone buy him.
Oh, dude, he's not going anywhere. He's 28. He has a longish contract. So that is going to be fun. I think my player of the tournament so far is Emil Forsberg. My God, that guy still brings it. He still scores goals. He is like unstoppable at some point. At some point, he has to retire, right? Isn't he like 33, 34?
Is he?
Who is the oldest player right now in the tournament?
No, Emil Forsberg is only 29.
When did you see him for the first time?
Wow, that's such a romantic question.
What?
When did you see him for the first time?
Yeah.
Like why do you think is that old?
I don't know. He's been playing for Leipzig for so long. So I just assumed that he's like 33, 34. What were you asking, Baru?
I said, who is the oldest player in this edition? Like,
It must be Chiellini, no? Or I'm just randomly guessing. Or some goalie.
is David James still in the squad?
No. I think Sergio Busquets.
I think Chiellini is older.
Wait, we have Google, guys. Let me just Google this. This is the last thing anyway on the podcast. Oldest player in Euro 2021. Oh, dude.
Okay, which team?
Okay. Played for Real Madrid.
Pepe.
Yes.
The assassin. That was one thing I really enjoyed in the Belgium game. Pepe
Hacking down the Belgium players.
Yeah, I mean, since he's moved on from the La Liga, we haven't seen that in a while, and this is possibly the last time we're seeing it.
Yeah. And he seems so fit for a 38-year-old. Like, he was amazing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he is the oldest player at 38.
Yeah.
And I think Cristiano is what, 35, 36?
Very
Chalo. All right.
All right.
Baru, you can go back to your work.
All right, later.
Okay, and yes,
All
thanks
right.
a lot. But next
Bye-bye.
week when we record, will the quarterfinals be done?
I think so. Yeah, we'll get. Yeah, they'll be done. No, the finals after that. So we'll look forward to the semis and.
Okay, let me just see, when will the quarterfinals be done? Quarterfinals will be done by Sunday, dudes.
Yeah.
And Wednesday and Thursday are semis. Oh, good. We've fallen into nice recording slipstream. All right. Bye, yes. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Baru.
Bye, later.
Namaskar, dear friends. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. Life, as you know, is a journey. And you and I, travelers, how can we celebrate this travel? I have a podcast for you, Begin the Journey. I share stories and moments from my life. Do tune in every Monday and Thursday to listen to my podcast on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Cheers.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.